Welcome to another episode, guys. In today's episode, I'm going to be working on the 67 Ford Mustang. We're going to be doing a little bit of the wiring work on it, so stay tuned.
Music bed.
Alright, so far I did this main wire harness here that goes off the fuse box. It pretty much goes all the way across here behind the dash, and then it goes to your headlight switch, and it splits off to all the different pretty much areas. It goes to like your steering column for your turn signal, your headlight switch, goes to your dimmer switch down there, that little like wiper pump, all that wiper motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and just keep working on that. So the next piece there, you'll see the wires come off there and then go into that white plug, which is the one for the steering column. So I'm gonna put loom on that all the way to that plug, and then loom here on the bottom as well, just to keep everything tidy. And then I'll keep going through all those wires here. This is for the ignition switch right up here, and so it goes off the main harness. It breaks off into the ignition switch here, but it also breaks off into all these wires that are like for your radio, your lights, like under dash lights, your cigarette lighter. And so I'm gonna just start to loom all those, making them, look a little bit more organized. And I'm gonna pretty much bolt the ignition switch here to the dash. So this takes a big nut that goes around it. And actually I was trying to mount that earlier, but shout out to CJ Pony there where I got these parts from, but this was my factory little piece, and I think just the threads on here are worn out. I mean, this is probably the factory piece here, so I got a new one that way, because when I was trying to tighten it up, it would get a little bit tight, and then it would just get loose. And you don't want your ignition switch to be loose in there, because every time you turn the key, I mean, it's just going to start loosening up, and you don't want it to get loose and maybe the wires touch something on the back. So hopefully this new one is a lot tighter. I'm gonna actually go try that now, and if it is, then that'll be perfect. If not, then I'll have to just put like some Teflon around the ignition switch to make it a little bit tighter. But overall, I mean, you can kind of, I don't know if the camera can pick it up that well, but you can kind of see this one's pretty, scratched and everything. So I mean, I hope I don't scratch it putting it in, but hopefully that'll look way nicer too. kind of did the little loom on the ignition switch, and then the wires here on this side. So I mean, it looks better than before. Rather than just having a bunch of wires just all over the place, at least they're all protected. So really, I think it looks better that way. Like now, see, this is the radio harness, but it's all together. This is for the lights. I only loomed it up to here for now because I'm gonna see where that's gonna run afterwards that way. So what I'm gonna do next is also do the if I can get this light here, do this wires here. So as you can see, they're just kind of loose like that. I'm gonna loom them. This go to the wiper motor right underneath, but just that way it looks nicer than just kind of thrown in there. So and then I also have like the wire here that goes to the gauge down here. It goes through here. This is where the connector is. So I don't want to have this wire like in the engine bay, the extra wire kind of. So I'm gonna get it all tight under the dash here, and then just kind of put it off to the side, wrap it, just make it look cleaner. So I'll put some protectant, like a grommet there on the firewall, so that way it doesn't get cut or anything. But install my ignition switch here, so that looks nice. That new ring did fit under really nice and tight. Like I said, the old one, when I was tying it up, it would kind of tighten a little bit, and then it would just get loose. So this one went in there really, really tight, really nice. I wrapped a little bit of electrical tape around my pliers just to finish turning it a little bit extra more at the end. That way it's nice and tight in there. So now, you can still kind of move it slightly, but if you go on the back side anyways, but if you turn your key, it's solid, it's not just gonna move. So a little tip for you guys: if you're not sure how to take your switch off there, get like a paper clip or a little piece of skinny wire, and let me show you guys how that comes out. Let me set the camera down here for a second. So what you're gonna do is, you have to have the key though. If you don't have a key for one of these old switches, then you'll just take your ring off and buy the back part and the cylinder part. But if you have your key, turn it backwards like the accessory side, and then when you turn it backwards, there's going to be like a little pin that you're able to push through this little hole. Push it down, and it's going to let you turn it a little bit farther to the left. Once you turn it, you can just pull it out. So when you buy the new one, if the new one is kind of in the middle there, turn it back to the accessory. You have to push that little pin in there, and then turn it all the way back. Then you can, line up this little piece on the top, push it all the way in, and just turn it back to accessory. That's gonna lock it in place. There you go. So pretty simple way to take it off. But if you don't know how to push that in, there's no other way to take it off. So anyways, that's in there. So that worked out pretty nice. I'm gonna keep working with the electrical here. Another thing I am doing is I am using this Tesa tape. This stuff is pretty nice. It's not like your regular electrical tape where it's gonna it's not plasticky. It's kind of like cloth. This is what most newer manufacturers use. And when you're working in like the dash there, you don't have room. What I'm doing is getting a socket and just wrapping it around there. So I have to get some of this ready anyway. So Get your tape, and I mean you're not gonna wrap the whole roll around it because you're gonna make it too big, but just wrap decent amount though so that you can work on whatever you're working there. I mean, you're gonna have to do this a few times, but sometimes you just can't get this big old roll around. You don't have room in there, so. And you can use even a smaller little socket. This is just what I'm using now, but this gets me enough tape to pretty much do each little section that I've been doing. And then I'll just wrap some more and keep going. So, and there you got it. So you have like a smaller roll to work with. So anyways, I'm gonna keep working on that, see how much progress we can do. So I got the rest of those wires there, all the loom that goes to the wiper motor, and then the ones that go to the turn signal switch on the column here. Wrap this ground wires. So all this is pretty much all set. Now once I'm all done with all this, I'll tuck these in, make sure they're zip tied. This is pretty nice on this paintless wiring. Both of these flashers are pretty much here on the same spot. I think originally on the car, one of them's way up in here, the other one's over here. So I'll wrap these and then make sure I'll let them, I'm gonna zip tie them, but I'm just gonna, so it's easier to reach them. So I still have some of the wiring here, so I'll start looming some of this wiring that goes here to the door jamb that goes to the back, and then the one to that switch, and then my headlight switch here. This is just a short area I have to do, and then I'll mount this up here. I also bought the new mounting. It's like a chrome piece that threads in there and mounts it in place. So I'll get that done here next, and then I'm gonna continue with all these wiring here, but little at a time. progress here on the connector. So got the wiper switch wiring all covered up. I have to bolt this to the dash. So the only thing with the paintless wire harness that you buy, it does not have the factory connectors to all these. So, you know, as you can see, it just hooks up to the switches directly. And I was gonna use the factory connectors and splice them, but the factory connectors that came out of the car, they were pretty loose. So all the terminals were loose. And you know, you can make those tighter, squeeze them a little bit, but even the plastic piece that holds them were pretty much coming apart. So I decided against it because I didn't want to spend the time to do that, and then those pieces just gonna end up breaking and give me more trouble. So I just gonna leave it like this. I'm gonna keep the paintless book, so that way if I ever have to unhook everything, I have all the diagrams. So that's why I have the switch here separately. Once I get the dash in here, I'll bolt it onto the back of the dash. So I am using the factory dash connector here, so that's gonna get plugged in. This gets plugged into the dash just because some of the connections from here go to those gauges up there. And then this is for the tachometer here, comes from the MSD box, so I just have it here. This is for the heater controls. And so I still have a couple more things to do, but both of my flashers are here on the bottom all ready to go. I zip tied this harness here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some of these wires used to go on the front here, but I'm just going to keep them on the back. That way, you know, the wiring and the harness. And then I'm going to put another zip tie here on this other harnesses to hook them up to this bar. That way, I have the wiper bar here. If you can see it back there. When it moves, I don't want it to catch any of those wires. But at the moment, they're not. So I still have more of this to do. But I ran out of time today, so I'm gonna do another episode of just finishing that up. I have to click that fuse box and the firewall. Now that pretty much everything is done, I can do that. And then I still have to finish tidying up some of these wires on this side here. But I'll get that done the next time. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up. Any questions, comments, leave them below. Please subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next one.